It has come out that Assassin's Creed Shadows has now officially been delayed. That's right. The Assassin's Creed Twitter and all their social media profiles and on their website, I think on their website, but they posted this message right here that I'm going to pop up on the screen. Now, I'm not going to read the whole entire thing. If you wish to read it, go ahead and do so. But basically what it is saying is that they are delaying the game, postponing it until February 14th of 2025, as well as offering any refund to anyone who wants to refund the game. Even if you've pre-ordered it by now, you can fully refund the game. And the fact that they're also giving out the first expansion for the game free. At first, if you're not really been paying attention to when it comes to Ubisoft, you might see this as that's fine. That's not too bad. Games get postponed all the time. But I'm here to talk about Ubisoft in general. And this is the reason. This to me was you know what? After seeing this, I really want to talk about Ubisoft because I honestly think that Ubisoft has a massive, there might be a potential for them to go into the bin. And that is not me making any types of jokes about Ubisoft, about Ubisoft's done. I am talking about that in an actual full legitimate statement. Now, I think a part of this coming out, now with the game getting delayed, I definitely think that this might have been talked about for the last couple of weeks, because with a company as big as Ubisoft, it's not really something that they would make lightly, and it's not something that they would just go ahead and turn around in one day. But I also do find it quite ironic, and a lot of people have mentioned this as well, is that this came a day after the PlayStation State of Play came out and Ghost of Yotai was shown for the first time. And that game, it looks amazing. And the praise for that has already been exceptional. Obviously there's a whole about the protagonist being a chick and all that kind of stuff, but obviously we're not here to talk about that, and I don't really care that she's a chick. The game's going to be great regardless, because you know that you can trust a development company like Sucker Punch to actually make a good game, because they have a good recent track record when it comes to games like Ghost of Tsushima. But when it comes to Ubisoft, on the other hand, it's very hard to really trust them, especially with a lot of the things that they have released. I would even say in the past, say 10 years. And that to me is one of the reasons why I think that Ubisoft is honestly on its way out. Now, there was also this report, there was this insider memo. So the CEO of Ubisoft handed out this memo to everyone inside the company, talking about, the recent struggles of Ubisoft when it comes to the sales of their games, and also the fact that they were going to delay Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, this got, I think it was Insider Gaming that actually leaked this on their website. So if you want to go to their website to look at the entire story, but I'm going to show you right here. Once again, I'm not going to read the memo because we'll be here all day if I go ahead and read it. But just to kind of skim through it, like I said, it's just them really talking about, the feedback they've gotten from the recent games, also talking about the market and how much, they've been struggling when it comes to, pretty much selling their games and pretty much the struggles of the company. And then also talking about the Assassin's Creed Shadows being delayed till February 14th of next year. Now, one thing that I really want to highlight in this memo is that he briefly talks about Star Wars Outlaws at the start of this memo. And I really like about it is that when he's talking about how Star Wars Outlaws got solid ratings from players that recognize the game's faithful transcription of the original trilogy, and saying that it got a 76 on Metacritic. When he's talking about players, if he really was, he'd say that he'd acknowledge that the user score of Metacritic was actually 5.4 and not 76, with that being the review scores, the people who actually review games, these journalists who review games. And obviously, with the track record that we've seen from some journalists recently, we can't really trust what they have to say. And I really find it funny that he's actually almost catering towards these reviewers and not actually looking at the people who are really playing and buying your game, because journalists don't buy your game. Majority of the time they get handed a copy free, and even if they've not, there's only a handful of them that are actually reviewing the game, when the people who are playing it and buying it, there's thousands of them. Those are the people that you should be catering towards. And obviously because of all this, because of how bad the company has been going, Ubisoft's board, which is another article by Insider Gaming, they're actually launching an investigation into the company's struggles. That's how bad things have gotten at Ubisoft. And if you're saying like, oh, Donnie, maybe it's like not that bad. Maybe it's just, there's a few struggles, but honestly, like how bad can it be? Well, this right here is the stock prices of Ubisoft. From 2018, they reached a stock price high of $100 per stock. This is in EU. And then today, at the moment of me recording this, they are sitting at $9.37. That drop off is insane. In just 6 years, their stock price has dropped almost 90%, more than 90%. That's bad. I don't think you actually understand just how bad that really is. Going from $100 to dropping all the way down to under $10. And the recent struggles with Ubisoft is where it's really taken place. Because earlier this year, they were sitting at around about $20 per stock. And it wasn't until Outlaws came out that's when the stock price plummeted even more, because a lot of their shareholders started seeing how bad their games are doing and the general reception of their games online, from Star Wars Outlaws to also the backlash that a lot of people have given towards Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is definitely another one of the reasons why they've delayed this game. But to me, I'm actually glad to see that Ubisoft is launching this investigation into their company struggles, because I honestly think that there is many things wrong with Ubisoft at the moment. And I'm going to give off some of the reasons why I think that there is. Now, I think that Ubisoft at this point in time is making too many video games. Way too many. If you have to look at the games that Ubisoft has either developed or published just in this decade, just since 2020, is enormous. To me, there's no reason why a development or publishing company should be making this many games. You don't need to make this many games to have a good gaming company. I mean, all you have to do is look at a company like Rockstar, like Larian, and CD Projekt Red. These are three great examples of companies that don't just go ahead and out games, 4 games every single year, and just hoping that something will stick on the wall. But as a matter of fact, maybe sometimes it will. But in the fact when it comes to Ubisoft, nothing's sticking to the wall. Everything just seems to be completely sliding off. And I also think that the way that they are making games they're going about it completely wrong as well. When it comes to these companies, like I mentioned, when it comes to Rockstar, Larian, CD Projekt Red, the guys who developed Elden Ring, I can't even remember them. It's gone completely from software. That's it. Whenever these guys make games, they make games to innovate, and they want to make something new and fresh, something that still you can tell yes, this is a Rockstar game. Yes, this is a CD Projekt Red game. Yes, this is a From Software Souls game. But at the same time, they're wanting to innovate. Look at the difference between Dark Souls 3 to Elden Ring. Massive, absolutely massive. They innovated in so many ways, where if you look at Ubisoft's titles, they're not wanting to innovate in any way possible. Every single Assassin's Creed has been the same crap. Every single time. It's legitimately the same game, just in a different setting with a different headline underneath it. The games have not been good since Black Flag. That was honestly the last time that Ubisoft has ever made an actual good Assassin's Creed game. Same thing with Far Cry. Far Cry to me has just been the same. I remember playing Far Cry 3 when I was younger, and that was one of the greatest games I ever played at the time. I was like, damn, this game's... I 100%ed that game. Fully, I collected everything, got everything. Played Far Cry 4, I was like, damn, this feels the same. Far Cry 5 came out, it's the same. Far Cry 6, it's all the same games. There's always that Ubisoft type game, not where it's just oh, you can tell that this is a Ubisoft game. You're more or less this is some Ubisoft slop. And that's even what it feels like when they're trying to make new games. You look at Star Wars Outlaws, it really doesn't feel like they actually tried to innovate in any way possible. You look at one of their other new games, Skull and Bones. They were considering that game to be a quadruple A title, and it was rubbish. They didn't innovate in any way, and they're just putting so much of their effort into things that don't matter. And even in games that say like they actually did well in terms of like, oh, this is a decent game, it's almost like they went in the wrong genre for it. Like I heard that the recent Prince of Persia games, like there was one that got released earlier this year, then there's another one that's in early access, and I've heard great things about that. But is a 2D platformer really gonna save your company? No. Of course, no way it is, especially when you're a company as big as Ubisoft. Like if they were just an indie company, an indie game maker, then like these recent Prince of Persia games would be a great start for them, would be a great thing, but not to hold up as big of a company as Ubisoft is. And even when it comes to like some of their multiplayer titles, like R6, I think that if it wasn't for Rainbow Six Siege, I'm saying this without a doubt in my mind, that if it was not for R6 Siege, Ubisoft would already be dead. I think that the amount of monetization and the amount of profit that they get from that game, keeping them afloat, especially with the recent like surge in popularity that Jinxie gave it last year, I 100% think that Ubisoft stock prices would be even lower than they are now. Because of the amount of monetization that is in that game, with the amount of skins that they have in that game, and the fact that you have to pay for new operators when they come out as well, and all the battle passes and stuff like that, that if it wasn't for R6 Siege, the company would be dead in the dirt, because their single player titles have been failing. And not just in recent times, but for a long time now. Like, when was the last time that we got a Splinter Cell game? 2013. Splinter Cell Blacklist came out in 2013. Do you know how long people have been wanting a new Splinter Cell game for? But instead of giving us that, you've just been crapping out the same Assassin's Creed games almost every single year. No one has been asking for an Assassin's Creed game in like every single year. Yeah, we'd still love Assassin's Creed games, but you know what would be great? If you took 4 years to make one, and it came out and it was top quality, and it was great, and it was actually innovative, and it was actually proper, and there wasn't things that were wrong with it, and there wasn't so much backlash from the community about what you have in the game. But honestly, if Ubisoft had to make a new Splinter Cell game now, I don't really think I could trust them making a stealth game, especially considering if you look at the stealth that was actually in Star Wars Outlaws. I honestly wouldn't have like trusted Ubisoft to make any type of stealth game. But still, they're making games that like, it's like, we don't want this, or you're giving us too much of this. Give us something that we haven't had in a while. Why are you just feeding us the same shit over and over? Eventually, we're going to notice that it's not chocolate. We're going to notice that you're giving us shit. Some people might keep eating it. Some people might say this is nice chocolate, but majority of us are starting to realize, wait, you guys are just feeding us the same shit every single year. And that's all it's getting. And this is going to cause the company to go downhill. If Assassin's Creed Shadows does not sell well, I can 100% see Ubisoft stock prices plummeting even more and potentially putting the company into bankruptcy. And that is not a joke whatsoever. If Assassin's Creed Shadows does not do well, and I do not have faith in this game, yes, they may have delayed it, but I think that the game is so far in development now that if it's shit, they can't do anything about that. Like, it has been so far, like, even in the when they're talking about delaying the game, apparently it's pretty much ready to play now. It's ready to play. It's only got, like, some bugs that in the past Ubisoft would have just shipped it out anyways. But obviously with backlash and, you know, pressure from these shareholders, they don't want to. But the core game, to me, from what I've seen, I do not have much faith in it. And if it does not sell, if it does as bad as Star Wars Outlaws did, which is a high chance that it will, you could see like Ubisoft actually go into the bin. And that is no joke whatsoever. But I would definitely like to hear what you guys think about all this down below. What do you think about, you know, the recent Ubisoft games? What do you think about Assassin's Creed Shadows? Are you actually looking forward to it? Are you going to buy it? What do you think of Ubisoft's future altogether? Do you think they're actually going to go bankrupt? Will another company like Microsoft or Sony have to buy Ubisoft out? Let me know about that down below. That's it from me. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Peace out.